Hey guys, I'm Arm. The anime I bring you today is about the best family ever. Have you seen the movie Mr. and Mrs. Smith? This is definitely the Mr. and Mrs. Smith anime version. A spy named Twilight has to form a family with a woman and a kid to complete his mission. Unexpectedly, the woman he finds turns out to be a killer and the little girl he adopts has a superpower. To hide his identity, Twilight has to kiss his fake wife in public. But will they fall in love with each other in the end? Let's figure it out together in the story. Twilight is given an assignment to approach Desmond, an official of Ostania. Desmond is cautious about everything, and hardly goes anywhere except Eden Academy where his son attends. But getting into Eden Academy is very difficult. As it is a posh school, there are many strict enrolling requirements, one of which is to have a perfect family. Therefore, the superior asks Twilight to form a family within a week and to use the child to enter the Eden Academy. Twilight can only rent a house first, disguising himself as a psychiatrist. After that, he goes to the orphanage to adopt a smart child, so that he can easily enter the Eden Academy, to get rid of the naughtiest child. The orphanage director hurriedly introduces Anya to Twilight. In fact, Anya is not an ordinary child. She acquired the telepathy in a secret experiment. After that, she can read others' mind. Anya has been eager to be adopted, so she reads the correct answers in Twilight's mind to pass the intelligence test, successfully being adopted. Soon, Anya learns that Twilight is a spy through her superpower. She is very fond of watching spy cartoons and is very interested in Twilight's spy life. A few days later, Twilight gets the test of the Eden Academy from his colleagues and patiently teaches Anya. Finally, Anya passes the written test, but there is an interview next, which is absolutely impossible for a single-parent family to pass. For this reason, he needs to find a woman who is willing to raise a child and get married with him. Meanwhile, a woman named Ya is worried about being single. In her daily life, she works for the government, but in fact she is a killer. Ya's colleagues always laugh at her for being single, and her little brother Yuri also urges her to get married as well. One day, Ya accidentally ruins her dress for the party during her mission. When she rushes to the tailor store, she meets Twilight, who is taking Anya to buy clothes. They both think the other has good qualities. Hearing their thoughts, Anya immediately says that she desires a mother. At this point, Ya asks Twilight to be her temporary boyfriend at the party tonight. Twilight agrees. In return, Ya has to pretend to be Anya's mother during the admission interview. Before the party, Twilight is assigned a mission to eliminate the enemy. In order to go to Ya's party on time, he has no time to clean the stains and arrives at the party covered with blood. Then he lies that he is a psychiatrist and has met a crazy patient. Ya is impressed by his gentleness, thinking it may be a good choice to marry him. When the party is over, Twilight goes back home with Ya, not expecting the enemy's accomplices are following them. As he is protecting Ya, Twilight lies that this is a way of treatment for mental illness and there is patience. Ya does not question him. Instead, she reveals her intention of marrying him. Twilight also needs a wife, so he immediately agrees. In order to make a romantic proposal, he directly throws a grenade to crush the enemy, putting the pull tab on Ya's hand as a ring. After solving the problem, they get a marriage license, and Ya officially moves into Twilight and Anya's house. Anya is so excited because she learns that Ya is a killer by telepathy. What an exciting group consisting of a spy and a killer. As they become a family, Twilight begins to study the interview of Eden Academy. According to the information he heard about, he lists all the ways to deal with unexpected situations in order to pass the rigorous interview. Twilight knows that the interview begins as the students and their families step into the academy. The teachers not only observe the students' every move at all times, but also the parents' behavior. The teachers believe that only families with elegant behavior are qualified to enter the noble Eden Academy. The Twilight's family walk into the school calmly and leisurely, which attracts the teacher's attention. In order to confirm whether Anya is qualified, the teacher deliberately arranges a test of a student falling into the water to see if they will pretend not to see it, or to smudge their exquisite costumes to help the student. Twilight pulls the student out of water, but his clothes gets dirty, which disappoints the teacher, so they intend to cancel Anya's interview. Unexpectedly, Twilight has predicted this situation and prepared spare clothes for his family to change, successfully passing the test. Then, a group of animals are arranged to rush into the academy in order to test all the family's reaction when facing an unexpected situation. However, a wrong instruction makes the animals run wildly and uncontrollably, leaving the students and parents in a mess. At the critical moment, Ya, in order to protect Anya, deals with the leader of the animals with her fighting skills, successfully stopping the animals. In response, Ya lies that she has learned fighting skills in her yoga class, thus resolving the crisis. The Twilight's family's performance completely convinced the teacher. In the subsequent question and answer session, Anya gets the correct answers with her superpower again and passes the interview. Soon, Twilight's family receive Anya's admission letter. Twilight prepares a hearty dinner and calls his colleague, who collects information for him, to celebrate together. At the dinner table, Twilight promises to satisfy one of Anya's wishes. Anya says she likes the plot of a spy breaking into the castle to save the princess in a spy cartoon, wanting to be the princess who is saved by a spy. In order to fulfill Anya's wish, Twilight has to use the mission as an excuse to ask the spy organization to rent an amusement park castle and send a large number of people to act as thugs. At this moment, Yao is still immersed in the joy of Anya's admission of the Eden Academy. Being completely drunk, she doesn't notice that Twilight, who can rent the entire amusement park, is not an ordinary doctor. Anya plays as a princess who is imprisoned in the castle and asks Twilight to rescue her. Other spies of the organization all admire Twilight, and they think this is Twilight's special plan, so they take the role-playing quite serious. Meanwhile, the drunken Yao causes a lot of trouble for Twilight. Luckily, Twilight is of competence, finally saving Anya. Twilight is scolded by his superior for costing so much money. Besides, the superior also tells Twilight the do's and don'ts for the next step of his mission. Although Anya has successfully enrolled in school, it is still very difficult for Twilight to get close to the chairman, Desmond, because he only attends the social meeting of superior students' parents. To become a superior student, Anya must get 8 Stella stars. Thinking of Anya's sleepy face when studying, Twilight decides to find other methods. Meanwhile, a group of thugs recognize Anya's uniform of the Eden Academy. Since most of students in this academy are noblemen, they kidnap Anya when Yao isn't looking, intending to get a high ransom. As a top killer, Yao quickly notices the thugs' movement and chases after them. The thugs are no match for Yao and get instantly scared away. Anya forgets to be frightened after seeing her cool movements, asking Yao to teach her martial arts. Yao has been worried that she cannot become a qualified mother. After getting Anya's praise, she decides to teach Anya how to protect herself. It doesn't take long for Twilight to come up with another plan to get close to Desmond. He manages to arrange Anya and Desmond's youngest son Damien to be in the same class, trying to get close to Desmond through Damien. Anya gets to know Twilight's plan by her superpower and wants to help Twilight with his mission. As she enters the school, she looks for opportunities to approach Damien, who has become as arrogant as other nobles since a young age. Knowing that Anya is just a doctor's child, he despises her, even laughing at Anya with his fellows. Yao warned Anya not to punch other people casually, and facing the humiliation with a smile is a sign of maturity. Anya forces a smile in response to Damien, which attracts the attention of her classmate, Becky. Becky thinks that Anya is acting more mature than other peers, deciding to make friends with Anya. Damien, however, is enraged by Anya's smile and keeps teasing Anya. Finally, Anya can't stand it anymore and hits Damien. Damien's crying draws the teacher's attention. Anya thus is punished and gets a tonitrous bolt. In this academy, students who accumulate 8 tonitrous bolts will be withdrawn from school. Yao feels so regretted having taught Anya martial arts, and Twilight is completely devastated. He does not expect that Anya not only got a tonitrous bolt on the first day of school, but also screwed up her relationship with Damien. Twilight has never experienced such a setback since he became a top spy, and he has to find a remedy. The next day before going to school, he instructs Anya to apologize to Damien and get his forgiveness. To avoid accidents, Twilight disguises himself as a school employee to stay beside Anya, but his disguise does not work at all for Anya, who has the ability to read minds. Anya is aware that her impulse has caused trouble for Twilight, and is determined to get Damien's forgiveness. Damien, who was born in a noble family, has never met anyone who treats him as rudely as Anya. He takes an interest in Anya, even thinking Anya so cute. At this moment, Twilight notices that Anya's classmate, Becky, keeps stopping Anya from apologizing to Damien. She thinks it was Damien's fault yesterday and is full of resentment towards Damien. In order not to get the plan ruined, Twilight hurriedly uses the broadcast to lead Becky away. Anya seizes the opportunity to apologize to Damien with tears. Anya's lovable face touched Damien's heart, but he refuses to accept Anya's apology while running away. His arrogance doesn't allow him to admit his feelings to Anya. The mission to make friends with Damien is a complete failure. Twilight can only try to train Anya to be a superior student, so that he can get closer to Desmond on the social meeting of superior students' parents. At night, when Twilight is tutoring Anya, Anya tries to get the answers from Twilight by telepathy, but only discovers a complex spy operation. The large amount of information messes up Anya's mind. Yao is even more terrifying. as she tutors Anya in mathematics. She is thinking of splitting corpses to confirm the answer, which scares Anya. Anya feels guilty about herself not good at learning, sighing that she is good for nothing and hiding in her room. Seeing Anya being so sad, Yaw advises Twilight to teach her in a proper way. Just then, Twilight realizes that he is so determined to make Anya a top student that he doesn't care about Anya's feelings. He wants to talk with Anya about her studies, but when he comes to Anya's room, he finds that Anya has fallen asleep on her books, and Anya is still talking in her sleep. "For my father, I want to get the first place." Seeing this, Twilight is very thankful. Meanwhile, an organization of Ostania is looking for Twilight. There is a group of people called the Secret Police in this organization, whose duty is to find the spies of Westalis, and Twilight is their primary target. Among them, there is a newcomer with great work capacity who turns to be Yuri's younger brother, Yuri. Yuri grew up with Yaw and is determined to bring her a happy life. Therefore, he deliberately conceals his identity as a secret police to Yaw. Yaw has the same idea. In order to feed Yuri, she became a killer. Recently, Yuri heard that Yaw had got married. He decides to meet his brother-in-law. Yaw and Twilight keep a subtle distance all the time, not even holding hands. She is afraid of exposing her appointment with Twilight, asking Twilight to be discreet. Compared with Yuri's nervousness, Twilight is more concerned about Yuri's job. It turns out that Twilight has investigated the identity of Yaw and Yuri. During the investigation, he discovered that Yuri is probably a secret police, so he decides to take this opportunity to confirm it. Soon, Twilight confirms his identity as a secret police in a conversation with Yuri, while Yuri is so focused on sounding out Twilight's personality that he doesn't realize it. During the visit, Yuri notices that Yaw gets shy as she touches Twilight's hand, instantly becoming suspicious of their marriage and asking them to prove their relationship with a kiss. Twilight gets close to Yaw in order not to reveal the truth. Yaw, who has not been in love ever, drinks half a bottle of red wine before she has the courage to hug down Twilight. In the end, Yaw still dare not kiss Twilight, but she unintentionally slaps her brother away when he comes over to stop her from making out with Twilight, so that Yuri believes that his sister really likes Twilight. Then he leaves. Though Anya went to sleep early last night, she still gets to know what happened by telepathy the next day. She regrets missing the encounter between the secret police and the spy. In addition, Anya hears something else in Twilight's mind. Twilight becomes suspicious of Yuri's sudden hostility and worries about that Yaw is approaching him in cooperation with the secret police. Anya starts worrying that this uneasy-formed family will disband. In order to find out whether Yaw knows Yuri's identity or not, Twilight secretly puts a hidden microphone on Yuri's clothes, though he then observes there's nothing unusual in Yuri's words and actions. Twilight is still unsure and calls his spy colleague. They dress up as secret police and accuse Yaw of espionage, planning to arrest Yaw. Twilight knows that such an accusation will not only influence Yaw, but also affect Yuri's work because in this case, Yaw can only get rid of the suspicion by revealing Yuri's identity as a secret police. But Yuri's resistance shows that she obviously knows nothing about Yuri's identity. It completely dispels Twilight's doubts and he tells his colleague he got the wrong information, asking them to let Yaw go. After proving Yuri's innocence, Twilight feels guilty about his suspicion to her. He takes off his disguise and goes to pick up Yaw from work. The sweet smile of Yaw makes Twilight feel more guilty. He quietly takes away the hidden microphone from Yuri's clothes and crumbles it, deciding not to suspect this lovely woman anymore. One day, Anya hears that if she gets the MVP in the dodgeball tournament, she will be able to get a Stella Star. For this reason, she pleads with Yaw to help her improve her skill. Although Yaw is not proficient in dodgeball, she is good at throwing bodies, where there is no difference at all in her opinion, so she immediately agrees. Under Yuri's guidance, Anya soon gets more skillful and she feels so confident about the game. Unfortunately, her opponent is far stronger than she thought. On the day of the competition, there are two classes competing. The rule is that the competitor has to catch the ball before it hits him or else he is out. If all players of one team are out, this team will be declared to lose the game. There is a top player in the other class, who is much stronger than common kids. He has been winning all kinds of ball games since he was little, showing amazing strength right from the beginning. Soon, only Anya and Damien are left on the field. At this moment, Anya accidentally falls down. The opponent takes the chance to attack. Damien wants to get the Stella Star, but his body uncontrollably blocks the shot for Anya. Damien's sacrifice has aroused Anya's fighting spirit, and she wants to defeat her opponent with the unique shot learned from Yaw. As a result, Anya slips and gets out of the game. Luckily, it is just a rumor that the winner can get a Stella Star. In the end, the winner gets nothing. But Twilight is a little anxious about the fact that Anya didn't get the stars, because his superior asks him to make Anya get 8 stars within 4 months. He heard that some students had earned stars by serving as volunteers, so he immediately takes Anya to the volunteer center. Twilight thinks Anya can easily handle these works since it requires no talents. But unexpectedly, Anya messes up the volunteer center, bringing Twilight's plan to a failure again. At this moment, a boy falls into the pool accidentally and nobody observes it except Anya. She hears the boy calling for help in his mind by telepathy. Urgently, she lies to Twilight that she can get the stars by winning the swimming competition, then jumping into the water to save the boy. As a kid, she is too young to save the boy. Finally, it is Twilight who saves them. To hide her telepathy, she lies that she observed the danger by the bubbles on the water, successfully avoiding being inquired. Afterwards, Anya gets rewarded a Stella Star because of her righteous behavior. As the first one to get a star in the first grade, she becomes the main focus of the grade. Twilight and Anya feel so happy about that. Anya looks forward to being the most popular one in the grade, but only her friend Becky feels happy for her. All the students in this academy are eager to get the stars, thus they are all hostile towards Anya, even making a rumor that she planned this accident all by herself, which upsets her a lot. When Damien hears someone talking behind Anya, he immediately argues with them, which changes Anya's attitude towards him. Becky doesn't notice it. Instead, she is making a plan for Anya to use the star to get a reward from parents. Meanwhile, Anya hears that Damien has a dog, thinking that she can get close to Damien by a dog to help Twilight. When she goes back home, she asks Twilight and Jan to buy a dog for her. Since they've been wondering how to reward Anya, they soon agree, but they haven't realized this decision will bring a big change in their life. Here we see a brooding warehouse imprisoning many dogs. Twilight's family appears in one of the dogs' mind. It seems that it is not an ordinary dog. These days, Twilight becomes so busy dealing with a lot of missions that he asks his organization to look for a dog. Plus, he rarely goes back home, which arises a rumor among neighbors that there may be some problems in Twilight's family. Twilight feels worried because for a spy, it is the most important to keep a low profile, or else he will expose his real identity. Twilight then takes his family to the ocean park on his day off, deliberately acting like a good man. Coincidentally, his neighbors also come to the ocean park, observing his family in a short distance. At this moment, Twilight is assigned an urgent mission. Ostania has got the formulation of chemical weapons, which is carried to the ocean park in a penguin. He must intercept the information before the enemy. There are too many penguins in the park to see the one carrying the formulation. Just when Twilight doesn't know what to do, Anya reads Twilight's mind. By telepathy, she senses that a penguin gets something stuck in its body. She quickly hints that there is a poor penguin being choked by something. Twilight keenly realizes it is the penguin he is looking for. He lies that he's gonna buy things outside and disguises himself as a keeper to blend in with the penguins. He soon finds the penguin that Anya mentioned and tries to take it out. At this moment, he is stopped by a man who claims to be a professor at the institute. The man takes out a business card and says he will take the penguin for experiment. As an experienced spy, Twilight points out that the business card is a forgery. It seems that this man is also a spy. As he is exposed, the spy has to run away. Twilight can't pursue him due to his disguise. Luckily, Anya has seen this and grabs the spy's clothes, shouting that this man is kidnapping a kid. Ya hurries to catch the man and kicks him to the ceiling. Then, as Twilight gets the formulation, he also gets the information from the spy, completing his mission perfectly. He still remembers to act like a good father in front of the neighbors, so he gives a huge penguin doll to Anya as a souvenir. He deliberately says to the neighbors that his work is busy, but he still tries his best to make his family live a happy life, which moves the neighbors and completely dispels their doubts about Twilight. Afterwards, Anya always plays games with the penguin doll, imitating Twilight's spy operation. Twilight doesn't get bothered since he thinks Anya is just influenced by the spy cartoon. But when Anya asks to take adventures in Twilight's room, he reprimands her because he is afraid of exposing the props in his room. Anya gets scared and cries. To comfort Anya, Twilight can only take Ya to play a spy game on the street with Anya. Finally, Anya smiles with satisfaction. Afterward, to reward Anya for saving a drowning child, Twilight and Ya decide to buy her a pet dog, and they come to the pet shop together, where the dogs look very fierce. Anya is very dissatisfied since she wants a cute puppy. But at this moment, Twilight suddenly receives an urgent mission, and he leaves the shop with an excuse. The spy organization he works for captured a terrorist. The boy is unwilling to reveal anything until he sees that the leader of the terrorists is also captured, who keeps blaming all the crimes on the boy. The boy thinks he is betrayed, so he volunteers to tell the base of the terrorist organization, and an important information that the terrorists train some dogs to complete the attack for them. But the boy doesn't realize that the leader is disguised by Twilight, whose goal is to drive a wedge between the boy and his organization. Meanwhile, two terrorists are walking with dogs. One of the dogs, a white dog, suddenly rushes out and bites a kid's clothes. Soon, a billboard falls in front of the kid. It turns out that the white dog has experienced secret experiments and it can predict future now. After saving the kid, it meets Anya, and it predicts that it will become a member of Anya's family. Anya reads the white dog's mind, curiously following it to a warehouse. Meanwhile, Ya is choosing the pet dog. When she finds Anya missing, she quickly jumps to the ceiling to scan the whole hall, but still doesn't find Anya. She saw the news before that there are perverts who specialize in kidnapping girls and selling them to remote places as brides. She fears that Anya was kidnapped and feels so anxious. In the warehouse, Anya overhears the terrorists discussing the plan about using the dogs to attack. Not long after, she is captured by one of the terrorists. To avoid exposing the plan, the leader of the terrorists decides to kill Anya. At this moment, the white dog chews through the rope and rushes out, intending to protect Anya. But when a terrorist takes out a steel rod, the white dog is too scared to resist. At the critical moment, a phone call attracts all terrorists' attentions, saying that the spy organization has found out their base and they have to leave as soon as possible. The white dog seems to have predicted the phone call so long ago, taking Anya to escape from the warehouse when the terrorists don't pay attention to them. By reading the white dog's mind, Anya knows it also has superpower, just like her, so she commands the white dog to run to Ya, and she asks for help from the passers-by at the same time. But they all think Anya is playing a game and don't offer help. Because the white dog is too old, the terrorists quickly catch up with them. Soon, the white dog and Anya are in danger. Luckily, Ya hears Anya's shouting for help, and follows it. Finally, she finds them. She shows her expertise as a killer, kicking a terrorist away and finally saving Anya. Ya's coming makes Anya feel safe. Anya hides in Ya's arms with ease and cries. At this moment, the leader of the terrorists orders the brown dog to attack Ya, but Ya is so powerful that the dog is too scared to attack her. The leader can only lead his man aside and flee with the dog. To stay with Anya, Ya doesn't chase after the leader, and then she gently hugs Anya and comforts her. After that, she calls the police with a public telephone, lying that she saw someone unconscious, with an intention of letting the police deal with the terrorist. When Ya makes her call, the white dog is predicting the future and Anya also sees it by reading the dog's mind. It shows that at 5 p.m., there will be a great explosion nearby the clock tower, and Twilight will die of it. Anya feels so anxious and wants to stop it from happening, but she knows if she tells Ya about it, her superpower will be exposed. So she decides to leave Ya alone, leading the white dog to the clock tower. When Ya hangs up the phone, it's too late for her to catch up with them. At this moment, Anya and the white dog arrive at the clock tower plaza. However, she doesn't know how to read the time on the clock, so she can't figure out when it will explode. But then she asks a nearby man about the time, and knows the predicted explosion will happen in 30 minutes. She hurriedly looks for the leader of the terrorists everywhere with the white dog, and then she finds the leader and the brown dog just left a house. She quickly hides around the corner to avoid being exposed, but the brown dog smells their scents and intends to tell the leader. However, the leader is anxious to leave the scene and doesn't notice Anya and the white dog. By reading the leader's mind, Anya knows the house is one of his bases and he has planted a bomb in the house with an intention of killing those who figured out his bases. After the leader and the brown dog leave, Anya and the white dog rush to the house. According to the predicted future, as long as someone opens the door, the bomb will explode. To avoid the explosion, she climbs through a small window with her petite figure and intends to defuse the bomb herself. She learned how to defuse the bomb from the television before, knowing that it will work if she cuts a blue wire or a red wire. To her surprise, there are only black wires on this bomb. Now Anya can only tell Twilight about the bomb without revealing her superpower. At this moment, she notices the ketchup in the room and decides to leave a warning outside the door with it. After that, she leaves with the white dog. Meanwhile, Twilight also comes to this house according to his colleague's investigation. He smells the ketchup on the door and tells it to his colleagues, one of whom lets down his guard and then intends to directly break into the room. Luckily, Twilight stops him in time, thinking that there must be something wrong with these strange signs. He then mirrors the room with a piece of broken glass and notices the bomb. Soon after, he finds the secret police also come to the house, so he decides to leave some warnings and takes his colleagues away, leaving the bomb to the secret police. By the time it should explode in the prediction, nothing happens. Twilight and Anya successfully resolve the disaster. However, the crisis still exists. By interrogating captured terrorists, the spy organization knows this explosion is only used by the terrorist's leader to attract their attention. His real target is a minister sent by Westalis to visit Ostania, intending to cause a war between the two countries by attacking this minister. Fearing that the terrorist's leader will launch attacks at any time, Twilight decides to trick him. He disguises himself as the minister and drives his car away from his residence. Immediately after, a strange car follows him. Twilight keeps wandering around the city. As the strange car is chasing him, he is sure that the driver of that car is definitely the terrorist's leader. But the leader is completely confused, wondering why his target is constantly wandering around. Twilight drives to a remote place, intending to capture the leader with his colleagues. However, when his colleague shoots the strange car, the leader immediately throws a grenade, and then rushes towards Twilight. Afterwards, Twilight throws the car and runs through the streets at a fast pace. After being fooled, the terrorist leader ties a bomb to a brown dog and orders it to rush to Twilight. Twilight removes his disguise and quickly takes out a gun, shooting off the brown dog's strap. After that, he throws the bomb into the river. It explodes on the surface of the river, while the brown dog is locked up by Twilight. Realizing things got rough, the terrorist leader hurriedly drives his car to flee. However, he is so unlucky that he happens to meet Ya, who is looking for Anya everywhere. Ya recognizes him. She then jumps off the flyover and kicks his car, causing him to hit the wall and lose consciousness. After calling the police to report clues about the terrorist leader, she continues to look for Anya. Finally, she meets Anya riding a white dog and Twilight around the corner. Twilight hears what happened from Ya and then reproaches Anya for running about alone. After making sure that Anya is not injured, he feels relieved. Anya tells Twilight it was the white dog that saved her from the terrorists. Twilight learns from captured terrorists that they have purchased many dogs from the Astania, which were used as experimental subjects. He realizes the white dog is one of them, deciding to give it to his organization. To successfully take away the white dog, he and his superior co-act a play, saying that the police need to take it for investigation. Anya reads the white dog's mind, seeing that it disappears from the image of her family, and then she shouts that she must adopt it, even saying if they don't allow her to adopt it, she won't go to the academy anymore. Worrying their mission of using Anya to approach Desmond will fail, Twilight and his superior quickly agree. The superior whispers to Twilight that he must strictly watch the white dog and prevent it from causing harm. Immediately after, the superior gently tells Anya the white dog was abused before, and then asks her to take good care of it. Seeing Anya's bright smile, the superior feels happy because she once had a daughter with the same age as Anya. Since then, the white dog has been a member of Anya's family. Before that, it was tortured in experiments and abused by terrorists. It is its first time being treated as a family. The white dog excitedly wags its tail, which is the way it uses to express gratitude. Knowing that Desmond's son, Damien, also has a dog, Anya wants to help Twilight finish the mission by approaching Damien with a topic of dogs. She decides to test her plan on her friend, Becky first, and then tells her about the white dog as soon as she arrives in the academy. Becky excitedly asks Anya about the white dog's breed and age, saying that she wants to walk the dogs with Anya next time. Anya is confident that her plan must work. She tells Damien that she has got a white dog. Unexpectedly, Damien replies to her coldly, causing Anya to be devastated. But Damien likes Anya. Realizing that he should show his enthusiasm instead, he quickly asks Anya about the white dog's name, which gives Anya hope. However, she can't answer it because she forgets to name the white dog. Finally, she misses a chance to get close to Damien. Afterwards, Anya keeps thinking about the name of the white dog and has no clue at all. When she returns home, the white dog warmly runs towards her, making Anya forget her trouble for a while. Later, she walks the white dog with Twilight. Twilight tells Anya that since she has decided to have a pet, she must have the determination to be responsible for the pet. Anya happily makes a promise to take care of the white dog. At this moment, Anya notices people in the park playing the frisbee with their pets, excitedly imitating them. She then throws one of her shoes out as the frisbee. However, since she can't call out the white dog's name, it doesn't react at all. Seeing Anya and the white dog having fun, Twilight is lost in thought. He asks Anya to be responsible for the white dog, but he can't do it. Once the mission is over, he will leave the family. Thinking of this, Twilight is a bit sad. As night falls, Twilight temporarily puts away his sorrow and asks Anya to go home. At this point, Anya notices her gloves missing. Using its excellent sense of smell, the white dog finds the gloves were taken away by a fierce dog. Anya tries to get her gloves back, but is frightened by the fierce dog. Seeing this, the white dog quickly stares at it fiercely, causing the fierce dog to be scared and throw away the gloves. Anya is grateful to the white dog. She thinks it is like Bond, the spy who guards the princess in the anime. When they return home, Anya ties a black bow to the white dog and names it Bond. After that, Bond learns many skills under Anya's training. When Anya is tired, she lies on Bond and sleeps. Seeing this warm scene, Twilight and Ya smile at the same time. Just when everything is going well, something unusual occurs in this happy family. Twilight notices that Ya always comes back home late recently with scars on her hands. Anya also finds something abnormal. By reading Bond's mind, she sees Ya crying, which makes Anya anxious. In fact, Ya's unusual behavior is caused by a misunderstanding. When they went to a pet store before, Twilight received an order from his organization and left for a long time with an excuse of going to the toilet. Ya is bad at cooking, so she thinks Twilight had the runs because of the breakfast she made, and she has been guilty all the time. After that, she asks her colleagues for tips on cooking. A kind-hearted brown-haired man says that Camilla, a blonde beauty who is good at cooking, is the best person to help Ya improve her cooking skills. At his instigation, Camilla promises to teach Ya to cook at her home. Besides, the brown-haired man also calls another colleague, Yor's brother Yuri, to give some advice. Despite Camilla's guidance, Ya still makes a meal that looks terrible. Yuri was raised by Ya, and he hasn't eaten the food that Ya made for a long time, so he is very touched as soon as he tastes it. Camilla and the male colleague think that Yuri's cooking skills have improved, but after they taste it out of curiosity, they both fall to the ground in pain. Later, after Camilla's patient guidance, Ya finally makes a delicious stew, which is unanimously recognized by everyone, and she gains much confidence. She rushes home excitedly and offers to make dinner. Both Twilight and Anya think it will be a disaster, but they don't expect the stew made by Ya to be surprisingly delicious and praise her cooking. Looking at the satisfied expressions of her family, Ya cries with excitement. Anya is relieved to see the prophesied scene end in a happy way, and Twilight judges through careful thinking that Ya injured her hand while practicing cooking and no longer worries about her. This success gives Ya plenty of confidence. She quickly makes a meal she created, which makes both Anya and Twilight fall to the ground after tasting it. It seems that Yor's cooking skills can still be improved greatly. Meanwhile, Anya intends to approach Damien again with Bond as a topic. She makes a model of Bond during a craft class, hoping to attract Damien's attention. However, Damien thinks Anya's model is too ugly and ignores her to concentrate on making his own model. Damien has not been cared about by Desmond since he was a child, and he hopes to make gorgeous models to gain Desmond's attention. Anya learns his thoughts by reading his mind and offers to help him make the model, but he soon regrets accepting Anya's help, because her craft is so bad that their work looks terrible. Damien is angry and doesn't calm down until he returns home. Previously, he was beaten by Anya at school, but Desmond didn't care, so it is obviously unrealistic to attract Desmond's attention with a model. He is determined to become an Imperial Scholar with 8 Stella stars like his brother, believing that this is the only way to make Desmond care about him, for which Damien decides to study hard for the upcoming midterm exams. There will be 4 subjects in the midterm exam. Students are punished with a tonitrous bolt for each failure. Damien's goal is to get a good score on the exam and get a Stella star. As for Anya, she can be happy as long as she doesn't get the tonitrous bolt. Anya's original plan is to cheat in the exam with her superpower, which has a flaw that it will lose effect on the day of the new moon. Coincidentally, the midterm exam will be held during the new moon, and Anya can only ask her parents for help to improve her grades. For this reason, Ya invites Yuri, who had excellent grades in school, to tutor Anya. However, after tutoring for a day, Anya remembers nothing. Yuri eventually breaks down and leaves. Unwillingly, Anya clenches her fists and returns to her room to study alone, deciding to pass the exam by her own efforts. Soon, the midterm exam comes. After completing all the exams, Anya is very confident. Twilight, however, is unsure of Anya's performance. He infiltrates Eden Academy disguised as a teacher, intending to manipulate Anya's scores. Later, Twilight sees a suspicious man outside the building where the exam papers are stored. The man's name is Daybreak, a rookie agent who dreams of becoming a well-known agent. Daybreak receives a commission from Damien's enemies to lower Damien's grades. He is so amateur that he is almost discovered by security guards several times during his infiltration into the building. Twilight, worrying that Daybreak will catch the guards' attention, has been secretly clearing the traces left by him. Before entering the archives, Daybreak is asked for identification by a security guard, but as an agent, he did not even prepare identification in advance. Seeing that he is about to be suspected by the security guard, Twilight quickly walks out with forged credentials in his hand, falsely claiming that it was dropped by Daybreak, and then enters the archives with him. Daybreak is so stupid that he doesn't suspect Twilight at all. After knocking Twilight out at the door of the archives, he enters the archives to manipulate Damien's grades, and even wants to leave his name on the exam papers to improve his reputation. In fact, Twilight just pretends to be knocked unconscious, and when Twilight notices Daybreak's stupid move, he can't help but stop it. Secret agents usually worry about their identities being exposed, but in order to increase his fame, Daybreak asks Twilight to spread today's event and then leaves. Twilight, shocked by Daybreak's stupidity, hastens to change Damien's scores back to prevent him from being expelled from school due to poor grades. After all, without Damien, Twilight cannot approach Desmond. Immediately after, Twilight finds Anya's test paper. He is surprised to find that Anya has passed all the exams, and he is inexplicably a little happy. When the results are officially announced, he pretends to sternly blame Anya for just slightly passing every subject, because he doesn't want Anya to be too proud. However, Anya reads Twilight's thoughts and smiles triumphantly. The most unlucky person in this incident is Daybreak. Damien earns a Stella Star with excellent grades in the midterms, causing Daybreak to fail to receive commissions. But with his IQ, he can't figure out what was wrong with his actions. Daybreak's failure has infuriated his employer George, the son of a well-known company owner and Damien's classmate. Not long ago, George overheard his father talking to his secretary and learned that his father's company was bankrupt. Immediately after their conversation, he heard Desmond's name, and then subconsciously thought that his father's company was bankrupted by Desmond, so he is determined to take revenge on Desmond's son, Damien, but he doesn't expect Daybreak to be unreliable at all. Unwillingly, George thinks of a new way. While the academy is cleaning, he claims to have picked up a cigarette end under Damien's feet. When Damien tries to argue, George falls to the ground when others don't notice him, and then lies to a teacher that he was beaten for finding Damien's cigarette end. Seeing that Damien is about to be punished for George's false accusations, plus she learns everything with her superpower, Anya tells the teacher that she witnessed the whole process, and then convinces the teacher that Damien is innocent. At this moment, Anya looks extremely heroic in Damien's mind, and he blushes. After the teacher leaves, Damien asks George why he lied. George shouts in frustration that his family's company will go bankrupt because of Desmond, and he will soon become a beggar, even being expelled from the academy. The surrounding students sympathize with his plight, and even Damien is touched by him. After George sadly states that he still has many regrets at the academy, Damien fulfills all of them. Later, George says he has one last regret, which is that he won't have the opportunity to sing in the student chorus a few months later. When the students hear it, they sing for George on the spot. As George is about to leave the academy, they also send him gifts. George is touched and thinks it will be the best memory of his life. But soon an accident happens. As soon as George returns home, he gets a shocking fact from his father, whose company was on the verge of bankruptcy but has been acquired by Desmond. It means that George's previous guess is completely wrong. When George comes to school again, his classmates have heard the truth of the matter in various ways and ask George to return the gifts. George blushes with embarrassment, and maybe he'll never forget this bad experience for the rest of his life. Soon, the students all forget this incident and are busy doing the homework assigned by the teacher, which requires them to research a profession and write a report about it. Anya intends to investigate her parents' occupations. When she asks Ya about her work, she gets frightened after she reads the exciting scene of the killer performing the task in Ya's mind, so she decides to abandon the investigation of Ya and asks Twilight instead to cooperate with her to complete her homework. In this mission, Twilight disguises himself as a doctor. He takes Anya to the hospital where he works and introduces her to the doctor's work, asking Anya to take notes while listening. Twilight says his dream is to make no one in the world suffer from the disease. In fact, he lies. The actual reason he chooses to disguise himself as a doctor is that doctors have the easiest access to government officials. Anya listens to Twilight's lie while reading his true thoughts, causing her notes to be jumbled. At this time, Twilight suddenly receives a new spy mission. He leaves Anya in his office and goes out on a mission alone. Before leaving, Twilight specifically instructs Anya not to mess with the things in the office. Anya is very naughty so that she will not obey his words. She searches around the office and finds a secret passage. Anya follows the secret passage and finds that the end of the secret passage is above the conference room of the hospital. In the conference room, a group of doctors is having a meeting. Recently, patients have rumored that there are ghosts in the hospital, and the doctors are discussing ways to dispel the rumors. Not interested in their conversation, Anya is ready to leave, but her foot suddenly gets stuck in a water pipe, and she shouts in panic. The doctors in the conference room are frightened by Anya's shouts, and they think that there is no room above the meeting room, thinking that there is really a ghost in the hospital. When Anya returns to the office after she solved the problem, Twilight happens to finish the mission and goes back to the office. In the end, Anya's actions are not discovered by Twilight, and she completes her homework. But Anya's visit to the hospital catches the attention of another spy, Nightfall. Nightfall is Twilight's colleague, lurking in the hospital with him. Nightfall has always loved Twilight and fantasized about marrying him one day. Anya's appearance makes Nightfall interested in Twilight's family. She inquires about his family situation from her boss, Sylvia, and is determined to replace Ya as Twilight's wife. When Nightfall arrives at Twilight's home, she claims to be Twilight's colleague and comes to return Anya's belongings left at the hospital. Twilight is puzzled by the appearance of Nightfall, and Ya, completely unaware of Nightfall's true identity, treats her warmly. However, Nightfall is not at all appreciative. When Ya is pouring coffee for Twilight, she notices that Ya does not know anything about the taste of Twilight, and takes the opportunity to satirize Ya, trying to drive a wedge between Twilight and Ya. What she doesn't expect is that Twilight is always speaking for Ya. by reading Nightfall's mind. Anya learns of her purpose, worrying that Twilight will make Nightfall her new mother. Anya hurriedly acts cute to Ya, intending to prove to Twilight that Ya is a good mother. Twilight can't help but smile when he sees Anya's actions. The smile shocks Nightfall. She is intimately familiar with Twilight's personality, and she has seen Twilight's fake smiles countless times, but never seen him smile so sincerely. Realizing that Twilight considers Anya and Ya his real family, Nightfall feels lost and finds an excuse to leave his house. But Nightfall won't give up easily. She quickly adjusts her mentality and plans to seize Twilight's love again. Recently, she and Twilight happen to be on a new mission together, which requires them to obtain an important document. According to intelligence, this document was housed by a general in his art museum before his death. During his lifetime, the general held a tennis tournament with many officials to make money by manipulating the results of the tournament. The tradition of holding this tournament has been kept until now. The winner of each tennis tournament is able to choose a collection from the general's art gallery at will. In order to obtain the collection, Nightfall and Twilight form a team to participate in the tennis tournament. Nightfall believes that she must prove her ability to work in front of Twilight so that she can attract Twilight's attention. So she practiced her tennis skills desperately during these days, while Twilight has also been practicing tennis for a long time recently. Later in the competition, they work together to defeat two famous players in the first match, attracting the attention of the officials on the spot. Officials do not want them to win the race, so while Twilight and Nightfall enter the changing room, they secretly send poison gas into the changing room that can damage their bodies. When Twilight and Nightfall sense the gas and intend to escape, they find the door locked and can only hold their breath until the next match starts. They finally get out of the changing room. Even in these difficult situations, Twilight and Nightfall still defeat many opponents. Just when they think they can win the game, officials set traps against them on the field. These cheating tricks make Twilight and Nightfall hard to move nimbly. Soon, they find a way to avoid the traps and are back at the advantage in the game. At this time, Twilight notices that a security guard shoots at the Nightfall and hurriedly blocks it. Fortunately, Twilight wore a bulletproof vest in advance and is not harmed. To avoid being shot again, he and Nightfall move so fast around the arena, making it impossible for their opponents to judge their position. Finally, they win the game and become the champions of the tennis tournament. According to intelligence, the important document they are looking for is hidden in a painting in the art gallery. As soon as the competition ends, they choose that painting as a prize. Officials know the painting is important and decisively reject them. Twilight can only make an excuse to leave and then infiltrate the museum disguised as an art museum staff. While officials are picking out other collections with Nightfall, he replaces the real one with a forged painting. Nightfall picks a random piece of the collection and hurries out of the gallery with Twilight. They finally complete their mission, but Nightfall is not happy at all. Twilight doesn't have a crush on her for her excellent work ability, but only praises her as a good spy. When Nightfall walks Twilight home in disappointment, she sees Ya and Anya playing tennis. Eager to prove that she is better than Ya in front of Twilight, she offers to compete with Ya. Unaware of Nightfall's true intentions, Ya happily agrees. When Ya serves, the tennis ball is directly smashed by your strong force, and Nightfall suddenly has a sense of foreboding. Immediately afterward, Ya weakens her power, but her ball directly smashes Nightfall's racket, causing Nightfall to lose the game. Though wanting to cry, Nightfall doesn't want others to see her tears, so she drives away with an excuse. Once again, Nightfall's plan to take Twilight's love fails. Ya still detects Nightfall's intention, though she is dull. She has long had a crush on Twilight in her relationship with him, and she worries that Nightfall will replace her as Twilight's wife. In the following days, Ya is always in a bad mood and in a trance. Twilight senses Ya's abnormality and realizes that Nightfall's appearance brings trouble to Ya. Plus, he has heard from neighbors that a woman suspects her husband has a mistress and reports her husband to the secret police. Worrying that Ya would report him too, he entrusts Anya to a colleague and takes Ya to the bar to talk. Guessing that Twilight intends to announce that she will be replaced by Nightfall, Ya is nervous and can't help but drink a few more drinks. When Ya gets drunk, she becomes bold. Before Twilight could finish his words, she confesses her love to him first. As a result, she is too nervous to fully express herself. Judging from Ya's nervousness and intermittent statements, Twilight guesses that Ya has fallen in love with him, so he decides to take the opportunity to appease Ya under the pretext of being a real couple and prevent her from reporting him. When Ya heard Twilight's words, she becomes confused and uncontrollably kicks Twilight unconscious. When Twilight wakes up, he is lying on Ya's lap. He mistakenly thinks that he has been rejected, and quickly explains what he just said. At the same time, he asks Ya to continue playing his wife and Anya's mother, because during the time they spent together, he finds that no one is better suited to this family than Ya. Ya's worries are completely dispelled, and she promises to continue to cooperate with him and be the hostess of the house. After Liftinger's misgivings, Twilight begins to focus on his own spy operations. He has heard that the Eden Academy's social gathering is about to begin, which is the only event Desmond will attend publicly. Twilight's goal is to probe the military intelligence of Ostania through Desmond. However, only students who receive 8 Stella Stars are eligible to bring their parents to the social gathering. Anya has now only been given 1 Stella Star, and Twilight can only enter Eden Academy first to find a chance to get close to Desmond. He is so lucky that he soon got a chance from Desmond's son, Damien. It turns out that Damien has not seen Desmond for a long time, and he is afraid that Desmond no longer cares about him. So he stands at the door of the social gathering room, trying to talk to Desmond. Upon learning of this, Twilight approaches Damien as Anya's father and apologizes in front of Desmond for Anya hitting Damien as soon as the social gathering ends. Desmond is attracted by Twilight's behavior and takes the initiative to ask Twilight about the situation. Twilight successfully talks to Desmond, even talking about parenting experiences. In this conversation, Twilight not only makes a preliminary analysis of Desmond's personality, but also makes Desmond remember his name. The experience gives Twilight confidence and he begins to plan his next move. Damien gets to report his recent studies to Desmond because of Twilight's behavior. After receiving his father's compliment, he is excited and wants to get more Stella Stars in his later studies. While Anya is sleeping at home, perhaps only loved children don't have to try hard to ask for praise. That brings the end of the season. Bond was once used for experiments, and was later treated as a tool for attacks by the terrorists. It has suffered from different tortures until it meets Anya. It makes me think of a character in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Rocket. I feel bad for their past experience, but also feel excited, because both Bond and Rocket find their family and friends who can really understand them and love them. Well, today's video ends here. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in my next video.